am I doing this right? Am I doing, am I doing what I can do to be successful? And it's like, what is successful? At the end of the day, it just comes down to, am I having fun doing what I'm doing? If I'm having fun doing what I'm as we're talking, I'm trying to finish the Jericho project. And I went out to the trail to do some driving, and there's a lady that saw me prepping, and she goes, "Are you living your best life?" And I kind of looked at her like, "What you talking about, lady?" And then I realized it's because I had a RC car on my backpack, and then I had one on the back of the truck. And it was like it was like a sorry, I'm doing a measurement. It was more of like, you're having too much fun, and I told my wife about it, and she goes, she's probably just saying that because you're an old guy out there by yourself. I'm doing what I want to do, all that kind of stuff, and within circumstances, right? Because like, I think that's kind of one of those things too, where I think sometimes people, they look at themselves and they are comparing themselves all the time or whatnot, and it's like, don't compare yourself, just have fun, just do you and have fun doing it, kind of a thing. And I think I'm one of those believers in like, another measurement, 2 3/8. It's one of those things where you kind of manifest your own destiny, and I guess what I mean, and I don't mean that like I'm a faithful person, but I just think if you have a positive outlook, you're going to have a better day, kind of a thing, right? And so choose yourself to have, or choose the idea that you're going to make the best out of your day, and I think that's something that is really important that people overlook sometimes, and they don't always choose to make their best day happen. And I think that to like feel that way, especially for me, well, not especially for me, but I just mean in the situation that I've been talking about when it comes to doing the am I doing this right? Am I doing what I can do to be successful? And it's like, what is successful? At the end of the day, it just comes down to, am I having fun doing what I'm doing? If I'm having fun doing what I'm, and you don't have to worry about it. Or it's like that saying, if you're doing what you love, you're never working a day in your life, or however that saying goes. And I think it's true. I think it's true. And I think that, I think sometimes people don't make the best of it, not intentionally, but just sometimes they don't. And I think that, if they did, things would probably be a little bit easier for them. And but that's just the way the world goes sometimes. And sometimes I think that I think that sometimes it is easy to feel certain ways about things, and I think that I don't know where I'm going with that. And I think that like for me, I think that when it comes to I think in art and in life, sometimes you just gotta go. Sometimes you gotta go with it, go for it, and see what happens and see where it takes you. And I think that that's where this journey has taken me. But, it's funny, when I first started the podcast, I was like, oh, it's gonna be great. I can be creative, talk about whatever I want to talk about, all that kind of stuff. And then it turned into, I realized, you know, it's not that easy, because you run out of ideas really quick. And so sometimes I feel like I'm just filling, but in reality, I'm just rambling about what happened in the world and in my world, and you know, where life has taken me over this little bit of time doing the podcast. And I'm actually liking it. I think I got to get a little bit more diligent when it comes to figuring out what I'm going to talk about before I talk about it, because I think sometimes it is really easy to get away from you, and you know, you feel like you're filling time versus having content. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the what's it called, conspiracy kind of stuff again, just to have a little more structure, I guess would be the word I'm looking for, because I thought that was fun, and I think it's fun, you know, doing the show with Jeff and whatnot. I think that with OCAN@RC, that's a blast. So I think I'm going to start structuring a little bit more. I need to get back on that, where it was like I was diligent about getting out every Monday morning, having this thing done. I've been focusing on the YouTube aspect of it, and I think I've got a workflow for that, so now I can dial that back just a hair and get after it. So I'm really happy with how this truck is turning out. I think it's really going to be an awesome truck. So we'll see if I can make it look the way I want to. Well, I hope you enjoyed all that rambling. Who knows what that guy was talking about. So I'm still kind of playing around with format. I like the idea, the thought of killing two birds with one stone, but the more I think about it, the less efficient it is. It might work from time to time, but I think it would be more hard than what it's worth. So I think I might stay away from that for a little bit, but for now I'm just gonna do the voiceover here, and we can do a play-by-play of what's going on. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking measurements of, now I'm taking measurements of the back part of this chassis, the cage, and I'm gonna be dividing the length by half so I can get like the midpoints on all these little runs that I got, so I can make support bars that go back and forth. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measurement. So say the measurement is 1.5 inches from one down tube to the next down tube. Well, then I know that if I divide that by 2, I'll get 0.75, which is 3/4 inch, and that's going to be the midpoint on that line. So like right here, I'm guessing that looks like about 2 inches, so I'm going to say it's about, or maybe 2 1/4. So I'm going to say that's probably 1 1/8 or so, and then I'm going to mark it, and that's going to be the midpoint. So then what I do is I basically connect the dots, and I'm going to take a piece of rod and I'm going to put it up there, and then I'm going to mark it. I'm going to put one end of the rod on the line and the other end of the rod close to the line. Then I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to trim it, and then that's going to get us to where we're at. So this is a 90-degree grinder. It's called a roll lock disc on the front that I use on it. It works really, really awesome. Those are ceramic coated discs. It works really awesome to get that fillet edge or the mitered edge on that rod. So see how I bring it down to where the black line is on the stinger, but I can't get it to lay flush enough, so I'm grinding off basically one half of the radius so I can get it to line down. And as you can see, it's hot, so be careful as you're handling these. So now I'm got it to where I want it. I'm lining it up, and then I'm going to make a mark there where the intersect is. And that's going to be my kind of perfect area. Now, when I weld it in, I could take the time and miter the edge, but I also know that I'm going to be tacking it with the MIG welder, so I'm going to be filling that area with the wire. Here again, I'm doing it, finding the midsection, making my line, and then I'm going to cut those down. And then we'll weld them all in. So I'm looking at what my angle is, doing the opposite angle, and now it's time to bust out that grinder again and let it eat. I'm trying to cut it at kind of the right angle just to get it close, but I know it's not going to be perfect. So now what I'm using is I'm using these pinch clamps. I don't know what they're called, but to hold it in place. I probably should have covered my wheel and my tire, but at this point I was on the home stretch and I was getting lazy. Just got to be honest. I was getting lazy and I was like, hey, I'm just going to get this thing done. Most of this truck, what was cool about it is that I was kind of just free-forming it, and that's good and bad because there's some things that I probably would have done differently had I sat and thought about it more, but I really wanted to crank it out because I have other builds that I need to get done, and this one was kind of one of those builds where it's like, doesn't need to be perfect, but you know, I don't know if I'm gonna send it to any magazines or not, but I might. But it's I just wanted to look, you know, it's an exercise in just getting back on the horse. It's been a minute since I've been able to do tiny car fabbing, and I just thought it'd be fun to get back into it. So right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of grinding off the burrs or the little bumps from the MIG welder, because I'm going to go back over it with the TIG and do all my cover passes with silicon bronze just so it's nice and smooth. So I'm just kind of dodging sparks here, just trying to get out of the way. So if you have questions, if you like this kind of stuff, leave a comment. I'll answer them up. If you want to see, if you have ideas for content, I have a long list already that I'm going off of, but feel free to leave me a message. Also, this video is brought to you by Scale Metal Supplies, so go check out their site. You can get all the tabs and all the tubing that I got here for your custom build at their website. Awesome website, lots of cool things to use. Go check them out. And also, hey, while you're surfing the web, why don't you go over to follow the links down below. We have links for merch and we have the links for Scale Metal Supplies. Go check out our merch. Go get yourself one of these taco chop aprons, or get yourself a t-shirt. Until next time, amigos, we'll see you then.